Hey there, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Platinum Achievements. As always, I'm Ray. Today, the time of recording is January 27th. This episode will most likely post January 28th because I'm very tired and I don't know if I'll have the energy to edit all night because little man Sam has been going through the latest sleep regression. He's been doing things called, for those of you who don't know, split nights, where he'll sleep for a while and then he'll wake up at like 2, I guess they haven't been split nights. Split nights are when they're up for like hours at a time. He did that the other night where he woke up around like 2, no, he woke up around 1, stayed up till about 3, and then passed back out till about normal wake up time, 7-ish. And then, you know, he's just been up sporadically. He goes back to bed pretty quickly. He pees a lot, so we're going to cut back on the water. But that's not related to achievements and trophies, just explaining my exhausted state. So, let us begin. Actually, before we even begin, I gotta pull up my achievements and trophies, see where I'm at. How have you guys all been? I'm hoping good. I'm hoping everything's been treating you well. Alright, so gamer score on Xbox, currently sitting at 672,915. That's all GTA increase, baby. I've been plugging away at that. We'll go a little more into detail with GTA in a little bit. But I have been chipping away at the Director's DLC so that I can complete it before it goes offline. Or maybe it's not going offline. More on that later. Alright, trophies, still the same. I haven't touched anything PlayStation related. We got 95 Platinum, 629 Gold, 841 Silver, and 2006 Bronze. Like I said, I've been chugging away at GTA. Unfortunately, that means I'm not going to be able to complete my goal of, 5 games this month, which is unfortunate. But I crushed my Blu-ray goal by like double. I'm working on my book goal. That's not going to happen either. Now, we have 4 topics we're going over today. The first, how are we gonna structure this? Maybe I'll do a little good, bad, bad, good. A little good sandwich and a double stack of bad. I mean, the good is, well, one's good. One, I guess, is only good if you're interested in an upcoming game. Actually, 1, 2, 3. Oh, actually, there's like 3 good stories. So we're doing 5 things right off the bat. GTA 5, Rockstar has come forward and confirmed that even though they are getting rid of the director's mode, or Rockstar Editor, whatever it's called, it's not going to affect achievements and trophies. So, that's a win for us. Too bad now I'm just legitimately hooked on GTA 5. So, I'm still playing it. I'm still chipping away at the DLC just to be safe, and then I think I'll tackle what I have left of the online, and then I'll circle back to story mode, because that's how I want to do it. I like to tackle as much multiplayer as I can first, usually, in a game, especially like this, because who knows when the online's going to shut down. Unless it's like the Darkness situation, where the online is, I believe, peer-to-peer, usually never gets shut down, but you can keep playing it long after the servers are dead. So, that's some good news. GTA 5, that mode's still going to be, or the achievements are still going to be accessible, which is awesome. I love that. Let's dive into, okay, so that was just a quick update. So that was one of the stories. So that's your first good story. And I will, aside from the GTA maybe I'll link that too. I'm going to try to link all the news stories that I give you guys, the articles I'm using. That way you can look into it a little more. I'm going to not really dive into the articles a lot, but I will be giving like brief overviews and just some of my thoughts, and some ways it ties to achievements and trophies, which is cool, I think. Oh, before we get any further, just the amount of engagement on the last episode. The YouTube gods have graced me, plucked that last video up from the squalor and just showed it to the masses. It's still climbing. So for those of you that aren't paying attention or you're new here, thank you for joining me. This is just something fun that I'm doing in the meantime. And I was going like an average of 20-something views per video, which is, it's not a lot. It's not going to make me the next Jake Paul or Mr. Beast, but it's enjoyable. I like that 20-something people are watching. But YouTube threw so many of you guys the videos. I think it's like the third one of Platinum Achievements. I think it's up to like 500 or it's getting close in views. So thank you all for watching. I've seen some new subscribers. That's awesome. Thank you. Welcome. I'm glad you guys are coming along on this ride. Who knows where it'll lead? Probably nowhere. Let's be realistic. But we're going to keep chugging on along. Anyway, now that I've gotten the thank yous out of the way, let's dive into Sony issuing refunds for The Last of Us Part 2 Remaster, brought to us by Game Rant. Let's see. I've read it like the Cliff Notes at one point, and I'm going to dive into it a little more. It looks like that Sony PS5 gamers that purchased Last of Us 2 Remaster at full price are actually getting a refund from Sony. This feels very uncharacteristic of Sony, especially of a big company like this. It looks like if you were eligible for the $10 upgrade instead of just buying the game outright, they're refunding a lot of people, which is awesome. That's really good to see. That's so good, because some of these things are a little confusing. I really wish Sony would just figure out their smart delivery like Xbox has, where it's just one file and whatever, and it's like how do I explain it? It's like let's call it a combo file, I guess. I don't know. Where it's just Last of Us Part 2 and then whatever system you downloaded on. So on the Xbox side, if you're playing a game that is playable on Xbox One, Xbox One X, the Series X, the Series S, you download, let's call it Halo Infinite, and it'll download whatever version works for your system. Unfortunately, Sony doesn't have that. I wish they'd figured out. So what they've been doing in a lot of these cases are when you buy some of these games, they will give you a PS4 and PS5 version. So you get two versions, which means 2 trophy lists, baby. So 2 platinums. Sometimes you can auto pop by going from PS5 to PS4. Other times you can't. Really depends on the game. Part of me really likes it because I get more platinum trophies potentially. The other half kills me because then I feel like I need to go get that second list because of my compulsive needs. And I guess just the fact that I feel like I paid for 2 versions, so why would I only pay 1? Seems like a waste of money. I understand a lot of people don't feel that way. But anyway, gamers who missed the $10 upgrade option and bought the game at full price have been reportedly receiving refunds automatically. But then again, some have claimed they haven't. So maybe this is like a tiered rollout. Who knows? But good guy Sony rears its nice head for once in a hot minute. That's awesome that they're doing that. I really like that. I think they should do that with more of these types of games if they're going to offer these types of $10 upgrades for these remasters or just the PS5 versions. I think that's awesome. Now, aside from being tired, the game industry has just been rocked recently with layoffs and just a lot of not so nice news. So it's putting me in a little bit of a dour state. I'm pulling this article from The Verge, but you can find it in a million other places at this point. Microsoft is laying off 1,900 Activision Blizzard and Xbox employees. That sucks. I feel for everyone that's lost their jobs in these situations, it really sucks when you lose your job because of a layoff. I don't actually think I've had to deal with a layoff, but when it's just... This is a slightly different situation than the other layoffs that have been happening. The majority of the layoffs was, people at the top making bad decisions, and they got to cut their costs, which is unfortunate. The 1,900 layoff is apparently happening mostly at Activision Blizzard, and people didn't expect it to be this bad, but you knew layoffs were coming. This is a direct result of the acquisition that happened. There's, of course, going to be a lot of redundancies. So Microsoft's not, it's not like they're just cutting people to, increase their bottom line, although that might be part of it. It's really tough to tell in this specific situation. There's a lot of nuance. With what this kind of tells me with the majority of this being Activision Blizzard is that they're kind of, and I have no information backing this, but I would imagine, with the two companies coming together with the acquisition of Activision Blizzard King with Microsoft, that you're seeing a lot of people in redundant positions being taken or being let go. And I think again, I have no backing to this. I think the reason that they're focusing so heavily on Activision Blizzard is because, let's be honest, they've been a PR nightmare for years. There's been systemic harassment, just terrible things going on in that company. I don't think this is everyone that's been let go, but I would be surprised if they didn't have, like, let's call it Microsoft candidate and Activision Blizzard candidate, and they do the same thing. But then they see that the Activision candidate, has some issues, has some sort of, there's some sort of track record of harassment or something like that. They're going to be the one to let go, I would assume. Man, it sucks that so many people are getting let go. I know that very weird scenario that I just gave, definitely not the majority. It's just a business redundancy, tightening the belt type of situation. This also has to do a lot with the industry, The companies, again, I don't know if Microsoft and Activision Blizzard, I don't know if they particularly did this, but I know a lot of companies did, where COVID happened, everyone moved, or not moved. Well, I guess we could use the phrase moved. Everyone moved to gaming to get their, socialization, just finding out that video games are a lot of fun. A lot of video games were sold. I remember I went to my buddy's GameStop, like, near the beginning of COVID, or right when we were starting to kind of figure everything out. He was a manager at GameStop. They had no systems, and I'm not just talking like PS4s, Xbox Ones, or Series X's or whatever. They didn't have PS3s or 360s. I think they were still selling Wii's at the time. They were cleaned out. So a lot of layoffs going on, particularly last year and into this year as well. A lot of them are a result of companies bolstering their ranks, spending all that money during COVID time, really not anticipating or just refusing to acknowledge that once we got everything kind of under control, that the money would not be there anymore. You know what I mean? But again, with this particular Activision Blizzard Microsoft case, it's just eliminating redundancies. The scale of which is shocking. Wasn't expecting 1,900. Maybe 400, 500 at most. That's crazy that it's that high. And I wish at least the people that aren't jerks from the Activision Blizzard that did harassment and all that stuff, I hope they can find jobs, or if they decide to not stay in the game industry, which I don't blame them, it's such a volatile industry at this point, I hope they land on their feet. It's not a guarantee, and it sucks. And I'm grateful I haven't had to go through one of those processes, yet. There's always time. I don't really know how to transition out of that, because it's the heaviest of the stories today, I think. And there's no easy way to transition, and the next story's not great either. It's also an Xbox story, so it's also doubly not great. And the next story really affects achievements. So I think we'll just barrel into it and we'll stop stalling. Microsoft is slowly backing out of physical media. And this is an article off of trueachievements.com. Again, you can find this in a million other places as well. Apparently, part of that 1,900 employee layoff was, let's see, a lot of departments responsible, combine the word, who cares? A lot of departments responsible for bringing physical Xbox games to market. Now, this blows for a myriad of reasons. I have, of course, been, caving into the digital side of game purchasing. Many of us have. It's so convenient. It's ironic, I know, considering I like to have 1 billion Blu-rays on my shelf. The problem is, for me, and why I kind of differentiate between like movies and video games, is I revisit movies more frequently. Usually once I'm done with achievements and trophies, I shelve the game. If I love the game, I'll keep it. If I don't, I'll get rid of it. But yeah, games are easier to revisit. Also, I would say like 98% of the movies that I watch are available physically, even if they are from streamers. So, as an example, Palm Springs on Hulu. Fantastic romantic comedy. I love that movie with Andy Samberg, and I think it's Christina Milioti. J.K. Simmons is in there too. Oh, and the guy who plays Superman on Superman Loves is in there. Very fun movie. I actually imported a Spanish copy because I love it so much. But most movies and TV shows are available physically. Video games, not so much. Like, I can't just go out and get a physical copy of Hi-Fi Rush. Or I guess I could get the First All Blade. There's a lot that's available physically, but a lot of the games I like playing, especially smaller indie games, they don't get physical releases. So I'm more okay with not having them physically on the shelf. Also, there's, the case where on these newer consoles, a lot of games aren't actually on there, just like the activation key is. PC games have gone without physical copies for, at least a decade, maybe? I don't know. So Microsoft is, shutting down some of its physical media areas. That shouldn't scare everyone just yet to the all-digital future's coming. I mean, it is. But at least in this case, they can still outsource to other companies, and I think that'll be the case. I think they've even said they're outsourcing to other companies for a lot of different areas. I think customer support as well. Oh, that's cool. In the True Achievements article, you see some places what am I trying to say? Some companies, like limited run games, they say they're still going to support physical releases whenever possible. A whole slew of games that I didn't even realize they had physically released. So, I think there's, Return to Monkey Island. There's a Ruby game. Full Throttle. Grim Fandango, which is cool. Day of the Tentacle. Persona something or other. Castlevania, yeah. So some of those smaller games that you wouldn't expect to get or physically, they're still going to be helping out with that. So, physical media isn't going anywhere yet. It's coming, though, and it sucks. From a game preservation perspective, from a million other perspectives, but then tying it back to what the show at the core is about, from achievement and trophies perspective, from achievement and trophy perspective, it sucks because there's a lot of older games that we won't be able to play coming in the future, especially if both the big console makers, Xbox and Sony, decide to go full all digital. I know there's the Xbox that's all digital coming. I guess it's rumored right now. It's not been officially announced. PlayStation has officially announced with their, are they calling it a PS5 Pro or PS5 Slim, whatever, that by default it's coming without a disc drive and you can buy a disc drive to attach to it. It sucks, man. I mean, I use my systems to also watch the Blu-rays, and eventually, it's just going to be all digital and it's going to suck and I hate it. But we've done this to ourselves. We've supported Game Pass and the new PS Plus. We've definitely been spending more as an industry and a fan base more on digital than physical. I was listening to the Kind of Funny Games Daily the other day, and I think Lucy James was on it. And she said, or they were citing another article that I don't have access to, or it's in this True Achievements article and I don't feel like reading it. But I believe Nintendo is 50% of the physical purchases, Sony's about 40%, and Microsoft's only 10% of physical purchases. Now, I mean, Microsoft has a smaller install base, of course, and they've been pushing a lot more towards digital. But man, with those kinds of numbers, it makes sense. This and the 1900 layoffs, it really sucks for everyone involved. But from a business standpoint, it just makes sense. So, you can't fault them an insane amount. It sucks. But that's where the industry's moving. And there's nothing that can really be done about it. We can rage and we can fight against this type of thing, but unfortunately the overwhelming wave of the people that will just go along with it, it's too great. And it honestly, so many things in gaming remind me of this, but it reminds me of, I can't remember what Call of Duty it was, but one of the Call of Duties, people on, I believe it was Steam, were super pissed. They were like, well, I'm not going to buy the next Call of Duty, we need to boycott it. And they did a GoFundMe, or they signed a petition, and they were saying that they're not going to do it. And then as soon as the next Call of Duty came out, you check that list of people that signed it, guess what they were all playing? That's right, Call of Duty. So, yeah, it sucks for people who like to collect physical media. It sucks for all the employees that are getting let go. It sucks for a lot of people. I imagine that it doesn't suck for shareholders and executives at the top. In full disclosure, I'm technically a shareholder of Microsoft. I think I have like 1.5 shares, maybe 2 shares. I don't even know at this point. But I mean, I'm just invested there because I know Microsoft makes a boatload of money, and I just want some of that stock money for myself. But I don't want this. We need like a Mr. Deed style shareholders voting whatever at the end of that movie, and we all need to just voice our opinions. And then, of course, that one guy's going to stand up and say that his dream was to be such and such, but he runs porn sites or something. So, that kind of tangented. Layoffs sucks. Or layoffs suck. Physical going away sucks. And that's the summary of all the stuff I was just talking about. It was messy. I'm working in a kind of new format here, I guess you could say. I'm trying to evolve this show. Please don't leave. Please keep listening. You guys still here? Awesome. Now, on to, let's see. All right, close that. On to the last, good story of the day. And honestly, looking at it now, it kind of ties back to Microsoft. Crazy. But Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. It's coming out in a few days. I think if you pre-order the game, you can get it the 30th, which I guess is Tuesday? So I'm going to be playing that. I'm excited. For those that don't know me or do know me, I will reiterate to you, I absolutely love DC. Between the two, it's not even close for me. I would choose DC every day. What's going on with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League now that dumb little comic book rant is over? It looks like they're taking one of the best pages out of Halo Infinite's playbook with their battle passes. So for those of you who didn't know, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is going to be they don't like the term live service, but it pretty much is. It's a co-op looter shooter where you play as the Suicide Squad, and Brainiac has taken over Metropolis and I guess the world, and corrupted and enslaved the Justice League, or at least the majority of them. So the Suicide Squad, whose job is to go on missions they're not supposed to, succeed at, or they're going to die, it's expected, and government's supposed to have, like, immunity from them, Their job is to go kill the Justice League, because now they're corrupted and dangerous and hurting people, and we need to stop them, gosh dang it. So, where was I going with that? Yes, they're taking a page out of Halo Infinite's playbook with the battle passes, where, at least according to the most recent article, I'm grabbing this one off Kotaku. Like I said, I'll have them all linked below. They are going to have battle passes where they don't expire. You complete them at your leisure. You can apparently buy previous battle passes, which is great. And for as upset as people were about the battle passes, the live service elements, this is a great, a great piece of information. I haven't gone back to Halo in forever, but there's actually I'm reading the article now. There's actually a lot of cool fixes that they're making that people had issue with. You'll be able to go back, replay missions. You can play the game solo. If you play with friends and move past the current point in your own game, the devs say you'll be able to skip those sections when you hop back into your solo world. Okay, so that's cool. So if you're playing with your buddies and you progress the story, you don't have to replay it. I know a couple games did that, and that sucked. That was such a pain in the butt. Awesome. Yeah, it looks like it's really nothing but good news today for the Justice League Suicide Squad game. But yeah, the big thing is that battle pass. That's huge. That's such a consumer-friendly way to do battle passes, because I cannot stand, even though I've done them so many times, the Fortnite battle passes in other games where they're timed. They want you to devote your whole life to it. I don't got time for that. I like to get achievements and trophies in other games, play other games. I don't like being sucked into a game and feeling like I'm forced to play it. Now, there's some instances, clearly, like when I was doing GTA here, to try and beat the shutdown of the server. That's on me. That's my fault. I was delinquent on playing that DLC. Same with Unreal Tournament 3 last year and Medal of Honor Airborne. Although it was a lot of fun trying to beat that stuff in that time frame, because I knew I could do it. It was a challenge. It was a lot of fun. But I do not like when games and developers kind of expect you to make your life their game. Like, there's far too many other games out right now, and apparently it's not slowing down anytime soon. So, a little bit of good news to wash out the negativity of the last 2 stories. But I mean, the 2 stories before that was pretty good. Okay, so now that I've gone over all the stories, let me know what you thought about them down below. Any of them. The PlayStation refunds, the Rockstar not disabling achievements, the Microsoft layoffs, the physical games potentially going away eventually with Xbox and, down the road PlayStation and probably Nintendo as well. And then the Suicide Squad news. This Suicide Squad news gets me a lot more excited to play the game. I guess technically Tuesday I'll pick it up after work. I have to pick Sammy up at some point. When do I have to pick Sam up from Amanda's sister at some point? Sometime next week. I'll figure it out. I don't know if it's Tuesday. I hope not. I hope it's not whatever day I'm picking this game up. So. Alright. Now, on to the recommendations for upcoming games and the current game to play. Let me pull up my notes because I wrote it down here. Alright, okay, my recommended game. We need a little levity with all these dour news and the way of the world. So, I'm recommending one of my all-time favorite games. It's called Slime Rancher, and you should see a trailer on your screen right now. Slime Rancher is a lot of fun. You go to an island, you're on a farm, you have like a vacuum gun, and you're basically Ghostbuster sucking up these slimes. They're adorable little creatures. And then you feed them food, you wait for them to poop, you sell the poop, you build your farm, it's such an adorable game. It's so much fun. Just a chill, relaxing experience where you're just sucking up these little slimes, put them in little playpens, building your infrastructure. It's so much fun. It's adorable. I think I bought the second one, but I don't think it's out of early access yet. So I don't think there's achievements currently. I completed it on Xbox. I think it was on Game Pass for a while. And then I got real far into it, and it's one of those cases. I love the game so much, I bought it. Technically not at full price, because I think when you have Game Pass, you get like a 10% discount. But I know I bought it at the highest possible price I was able to buy. And I actually think you can get the game physically, which is cool. So definitely go out and get that game, play it. It's such a fun, relaxing game. It's adorable. I don't know what else to say about it. God. You know what? I'm gonna use right now. You're watching GTA footage because that's what I've been playing. You'll see Slime Rancher footage at some point because I also bought it on PlayStation, so I could get the platinum there. So I'm really excited to eventually go back and play that. It's on my backlog list. I've been a surprisingly good boy this year about not buying games or movies or books. I almost gave in to temptation today. We went to Target. I didn't want to go to Target, but we had to run a couple other errands. And I was for sure, if they had it, I was going to buy the, what's it called? I guess it's just called Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1. It's the DC animated movie where they're wrapping up the current animated movie universe. And I for sure was going to buy that, but they didn't have it. So I was safe again. And then they had the Sandman Blu-ray from Netflix, and I almost bought that too, because that's another DC property. It's supposed to be a pretty good show. Didn't buy that either. I've been a good boy. I promise. And with that, let's go on to the upcoming game I'm going to recommend. It's a beautiful little game called A Plucky Squire. Looks absolutely adorable. You play... It looks like, honestly, a few different game styles. And the way that it works is... And again, you'll see a trailer for it up here. You journey into, shockingly, Sam's room. That's not me saying that. That is, I guess, actually in the game. The little boy's room that you go into is Sam's. And you play, I guess, as a drawing in a sketchbook or like a storybook. So it looks like it has sort of like top-down elements, sort of like Garden Story or the old Zeldas. But then you can hop off the page. And it goes from a 2D, like, drawing style to a 3D style where you explore the child's room. And it looks so adorable, so cute. You know I'm drafting that in my Fantasy Critic League whenever we actually do that. I think we're going to try drafting tonight. We'll see. I know my one buddy's working. I might just have me send him my list, or his list. He's going to send me his list. I don't know what I was saying there. I'm losing it, guys. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. If you want sleep, don't have kids. Like, it's brutal, but it's worth it. But yeah, Plucky Squire, I'm definitely going to put that on my list. I think that game's going to be an absolute banger. I'm also going to put Suicide Squad on my my roster because I just have, I put my money where my mouth is, you know? Yeah, so keep an eye out for Plucky Squire. Honestly, I'd be a lot farther in GTA and probably done with probably the story, maybe, and the director's DLC mission, or DLC achievements. But I also just got really sucked back into Walking Dead. I burned through all of Season 10 this month, and I'm like close to halfway through Season 11. And for all the crap that Walking Dead got, the show kind of dipped around, I would say it really only dipped around Season 2 was a little drawn out. I watched it more recently. By recent, I mean maybe a couple years ago. And it was drawn out, but like when you're just binging it, it's not that bad. When you're going week to week, it sucked. But yeah, it really dipped around Season 2, Season 3, and a little bit of Season 4, but midway through 4, it picked up, and I feel like it just kept going. It's been a pretty good run, the later seasons. While I'm talking Walking Dead, I guess I'll, tie it into gaming. Go play the Walking Dead Telltale games. They're all great. Well, yeah, I'd say they're all great. And then, if you can find it, go get Walking Dead Survival Instincts, where you play as Daryl. It's a first-person shooter. Came out the same day as Gears of War Judgment, and I know that because I picked it up at I don't know if it was a midnight release or not, but I walked all the way in the snowy slush in college because I didn't have a license. Picked that game up because I was picking up Gears of War Judgment. I was like, you know what? I made the trip. I'll get 2 games. So I picked up that game too. And it was an okay zombie game. It was alright. And with that, everyone, that brings another episode of Platinum Achievements to a close. I want to thank you all for listening. Or if you're watching the footage. It's not super engaging because it's mostly me driving around GTA, but that's a lot of what GTA is. So, thank you for watching. Leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on the stories below. Give the video a like if you feel like it. If you really want to, ring that bell. And please subscribe so you can stay up to date whenever I post one of these Platinum Achievements. It's going to be either a Saturday or Sunday. I think I'm posting them. I really wanted to post it today, but I'm just too tired. And the night is upon us. And we got to get Sam down to sleep because he skipped his nap today too. So, great. Thanks for listening, everybody. Keep on hunting, boys and girls. And that's it. Goodbye.